Okay. Hi, everyone. So this is Scott. I was asked to go over some poems with you, which is what I'm going to do. I was asked to look at some of the poems of Elizabeth Bishop um, Elizabeth Bishop, Adrienne Rich, and E. Cummings. So I thought I would start with Elizabeth Bishop, and the first one I'll start with is One Art. And One Art is a poem that a lot of the students have been talking about. So I feel like this is the one where I need to take the least amount of time, but I will just call your attention to certain things. So first of all, we know that this is about losing, and the title is called One Art, and it's almost like it's looking at art, looking at losing as if it's an art form. A lot of people have called our attention to the rhymes in the poem. So like if you look at the first stanza, you have master, disaster. The second stanza, fluster, master, which is not an exact rhyme, it's an off rhyme. Faster, disaster. And so there is this kind of rhyme scheme, something that's kind of holding it together. And so a lot of people have been talking about this kind of ABA rhyme scheme, that idea of it being somewhat controlled with a feeling of being out of control as you continually lose things. And when we talk about losing things, you'll notice that it starts with losing my mother's watch, and then it goes to losing towns and cities, to finally losing you. So the stakes are higher each time we talk about loss. And so here's this feeling of starting to spiral out of control, yet trying to stay in control. So there's that tension throughout that poem, throughout this poem. Let's read it. We're going to start from the beginning. Oops. Sorry. Here we go. The art of losing isn't hard to master. So many things seem filled with the intent to be lost, that their loss is no disaster. The poet is trying to tell you, losing is inevitable, right? It's almost as if the things are filled with the intent to be lost, right? So it's inevitable, so you need to accept it. Lose something every day, accept the fluster of lost door keys, the hour badly spent. The art of losing isn't hard to master, right? You're going to lose things. You're going to have to look for your car keys. Just kind of accept that. And there is kind of it almost feels like an instruction manual, right? The first thing you need to do is you lose something every day, accept the fluster. So it's giving you directions about how to lose and how to respond to loss. Then practice losing farther, losing faster. Places and names and where it was you meant to travel. None of these will bring disaster. And you might want to look at the repetition of the word disaster and think about, why is she repeating that word? I lost my mother's watch, and look, my last or next to last of 3 loved houses went. The art of losing isn't hard to master. I lost 2 cities, lovely ones and vaster, some realms I owned, 2 rivers, a continent. I missed them, but it wasn't a disaster. Even losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love, I shan't have lied. It's evident the art of losing's not too hard to master, though it may look like, write it, like disaster. So pay attention to the repetition of the art of losing isn't hard to master. And a lot of people have been talking about this in the discussion boards. It's almost like she's trying to convince herself of this fact that it's not hard. But even more, that it's not hard, but that it's not a disaster, right? Keep saying it's not a disaster. Keep telling yourself that. And in that last stanza, you have that parenthetical, write it. Look at what some of your students have, what some of your peers have said about the use of write it right there. Some talked about it almost like she's trying to keep it in control, but something is bubbling to the surface in that parenthetical. I think one or two people talked about, as long as I write it down, then I try to keep it in control like it's not a disaster. The more I write it down, the more in control I am of these losses, right? And notice that the losses become increasingly personal. Here I'm losing you, the joking voice, a gesture I love. So you see that it's someone very close to the heart of the speaker of the poem. And yet, it's about trying to accept loss and trying to get accustomed to loss and trying to protect yourself. You know that you're going to lose things. How do I protect myself, make myself less vulnerable? A lot of issues in such a short poem. But again, so much has been written by your classmates that my advice would be to just look at what people have been saying about this poem. Anyway, I hope that helps. And if you want to ask any questions, feel free to put it in the Questions Cafe board. Okay? Thanks. Bye. And did it stop?